Welcome to Chai Chat, guys. Last episode,
Last
huh?
episode. I used the last of our chai to make this.
Last
That's why it's
episode.
light.
Oh, there we go.
Apologies.
Last episode until when? What are we gonna
Till
do?
fall.
Season 2.
Yeah.
When's season 2 start?
I think August, right? Yeah.
Nah,
Tentative.
August is too hot to do anything.
You just said fall. Oh, it's like it's too soon.
Yeah.
Passing
Oh.
down.
Fall, like October,
October.
November
Are you
maybe.
guys sad that the
Maybe
season's
Christmas. Maybe
ending?
the next episode
No,
will be
no,
Christmas.
come
Are
on.
you guys sad that the season's ending?
I'm sad, yeah, because,
I'm like trying to push
because
you
we're
till
not going to
Christmas
be getting all this food.
Yes.
What is the topic today?
We'll be
So-
back soon.
The topic is how to properly react to chaos in the world. How one should
Spiritually?
yeah.
I don't know.
I think.
What have you guys
Panic.
been doing?
Huh?
Panic,
Yeah.
get anxious, stop praying,
Go on Twitter.
go on Twitter,
You know what I've noticed
read the
about
news
you?
all day,
You always start with what not to do. It's cool.
Okay.
negative,
pedal.
Why
negative
don't we start
theology.
with that then?
Apathetic.
So then, yeah, what should you not do?
What you just said.
Yeah.
Don't do what I do.
To be honest, the way I would approach this topic is really following it up with simplicity. Just remembering that we are rational, intellectual human beings, and that when unfortunate events happen in front of us, especially, with crazy chaos, it's good to approach it with a rational mind.
Yeah.
Because if you approach it with anything else, you're not going to have clarity on the actual situation that's happening in front of you. And it's going to be harder to live a spiritual and, really human life. So
approach it with rationality. So if there's something you can do about it, do it, but do
Yeah.
it with clarity in your mind.
exactly. So
Don't do it in panic.
So understanding that you're able to distinguish, what this very thing, what's happening
Yeah.
during this very action. Is it good? Is it bad? How much am I in control of this certain situation? So on and so forth.
And
then,
if you're not, then
yeah, yeah, exactly.
don't worry about it.
Exactly.
Don't freak out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're not in control, yeah. Exactly. It's really good.
I always
You're
want,
leaving me.
I think a lot about how much our church and the liturgy, we say over in morning prayer, evening prayer, mass, everywhere we say, and let us pray, peace be with
peace
us.
be with us.
Peace
You
be
know,
with us,
all
yeah.
the time.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
the priest says,
That's a good
Shalom
point.
Amchon, peace be with you. Over and over and
So
over
that's
again.
that's one indication that the liturgy knows Chaldean people.
Yes.
And also Shilyawa wa Shlau.
Yeah.
Be silent, be
Be
quiet.
silent.
Shlown, were you with it?
It's just the liturgy is telling you to be quiet because Chaldeans were talking in church even 1,000 years ago,
Hey, that's
1,400 years
funny,
ago.
man.
Really.
So I always think about that and like how much the liturgy is telling us, or at least asking, let us pray, peace be with us, peace be with us, peace be with you, etc., etc. So many times, and emphasizing it so many times. I think because it's such a great state to be in. As peace is really. There's the other line in morning prayer in that hymn, where it says,
Which day?
it's Sorot Ibn Nasha. So. I don't
Good hope of mankind.
Yeah, good hope.
Grant us peace and
Grant
serenity.
us peace and serenity that we may confess your Trinity. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in peace, we're able to really know God. In peace, we're able to confess and make a right spiritual relationship with God. Outside of peace, we're in chaos and we're unable to know God because we know God through the contemplation of the mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember in one of our Christology classes back in the day, there was an idea that always stuck with me. And it was that peace is unity between God and man, ultimately. You can't really have true peace and fulfillment in this world. So unity between God and man. And so Jesus in his person is the unity of God and man. So he is peace itself.
Yeah.
Shalom
Jesus
Sheina,
himself.
Prince
Yeah.
of Peace. Yeah.
No, we call him, he is the peace of the world.
Yeah.
Shayn ad Alma, it's an
Shayn
address.
ad Alma, yes.
It's vocative. So we're calling him the peace of the world, yeah. Yeah, go on.
Cool
Yeah.
stuff.
To piggyback off of what you were saying, even during the priest prayers, during Ramsha and Sabra, it's all about orienting our bodies and our souls, right, to Him. So I think that's another aspect in gaining that peace, because it requires the entire human being to orient yourself towards that greater good that's able to supply that peace, you know.
So obviously it's going to be the devil's, like, one of his best ploys, right, to disturb the peace, so that we're not able to think about God, and so that we're unable to trust in God and able to, you know, overcome the chaos that's in our mind, and so to progress in the spiritual life and in life in general.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously not just the spiritual life. So that I think that's one of the first things. Just be like, if you think of the spiritual life as a war, one of the first things is to understand the enemy and his tactics, right? And so it's always going to be the devil's tactic to disturb our peace, so that we're regressing in this battle.
Saint Francis de Sales says, next to sin, the worst thing that can happen to a soul, right after sin, is anxiety.
Wow.
Is worry.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing that can happen to you next to sin. It's worse than temptation. It's worse than sadness. It's worse than all these other things. Anxiety is the most destructive thing.
Introduction to the Devout Life, if you want to.
Why did you
Oh, yeah,
say
so-
that?
Because it weakens you so much, because all your power is just kind of drained by being anxious all the time, that when a temptation actually does come, you have no strength to fight it.
So,
And you're distracted, and it takes you away from God. Makes your prayer life harder. It's, you know,
So he
It takes
follows
away
that up
clarity of
with a remedy by saying, you know, if you do fall into that, the way to get out of it, I mean, it depends on the gravity of, you know, how much you're anxious in your life, but one big way to get rid of that anxiety and to regain that peace is through vocalizing it, you know, rationalizing it, like I was saying in the beginning with someone else.
talk
you
to
know.
yourself, talk through it, even
Yeah,
with yourself. Yeah.
Talking, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, journal or something.
You know what I like about this
Look,
is
I
that
journal.
Yeah.
Huh?
I journal.
I used to a long time
I
ago.
do too. I have the.
I mean, but to Jesus, you know, not like.
Yeah, me too.
It's not just like
It's not Dear Diary.
Yeah.
Dear Jesus. No. It actually helps me pray, honestly.
It helps me
You
pray
diary
a
too?
lot. And by the
Yeah.
way, it makes my prayer go like
Smoother.
smoother and much quicker.
So you get all the anxiety, you just get it on paper, and then you can
Yes.
put it aside.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
And
Do you
I
journal
read it
too?
later on too.
I used to a long time ago. I haven't in a while. No, you know why I like this piece, this issue with anxiety and striving after peace is that sometimes, like, there is an issue that you can do something about and that you need to address. But if you're panicked and anxious, you can't even do that.
Yeah, that's
So what we're talking about is not just advice on how to pray better; it's also advice on how to act better. And not on top of that, the people that want to sort of manipulate you in one way or the other, or take advantage of you, they'll use it too. It's not just the devil that uses anxiety. It's like all kinds of, you know, social or political enemies that, no, we want you to get upset and mad. And like this, the demonstrations that are happening right now, who do you think it's helping when the demonstrations turn into riots? They're just making the whole demonstration look bad. So the people that are panicking even there are hurting their own cause. And the ones that are doing so are you know, calmer and speaking and acting more clearly, they're getting what they want to get done better. So I think it's universally applicable.
Yeah, fear mongering is a tool.
Yeah.
Fear mongering is a tool. Yeah.
One of my old professors used to say, "Cheer up, it's worse than you think."
Yeah.
So,
Kincaid, right?
Yeah.
John? Shout out.
shout out. So,
Does he watch it?
And the reason why I say that is because imagine if, like you were saying, Father Andrew, imagine if you're not able, because you're panicking so much, you're not able to fix this thing that you're actually capable of fixing.
Yep.
Imagine what's
So you're worried about stuff that you can't
Yeah.
do anything
Yeah,
about,
yeah.
and then the stuff you can do something about, you're messing up.
exactly.
Yeah.
So cheer up.
Well, I mean, what's happening? You panic. So I'm so anxious about all this other stuff that's beyond my control, and I have my family or my friends or the people that are around me that I could actually like cheer up or help or teach them something or care about them, and I'm ignoring them because I'm so anxious about
Yeah.
I don't know what, like some conspiracy or some horrible thing that's happening, and like
Or like the worst thing is like when you're anxious, you make people around you anxious. Like when you make something a big deal and it's not a big deal,
Yeah.
it becomes a big deal for people that didn't otherwise think it was a big deal. And then you just watch everybody devolve into this like
catches like fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the funniest thing ever is when you're upset about something and then you tell somebody and then they're not as upset about it as you are, and then you get mad at them. It's like, how dare you keep peace of mind? Or, how dare you be calm?
How dare you be rationalized through this? Don't you understand?
I don't want to hear reason right now. I want you to be angry too. So now, not only have you not helped, you've actually hurt another person.
Yeah.
And you ruin their day completely, you know.
It's very similar, this idea we just said about doing what's in your control. It's very similar to trying to know God's will in the big things in life. And so one thing that I advise people who are confused about that is to say, okay, so you don't know God's will in these big things, like what kind of job does he want you to have, who does he want you to marry, does he want you to be a priest, whatever. But you do know God's will in a lot of things. Don't do this, don't do that, give
Do your
to the
homework
poor,
today.
help,
Do the
do
reading
your
you're supposed
homework.
to do, yeah.
So do God's will in the smaller things first, be faithful to that, just like how Jesus says, he who is faithful in little can be faithful in much. So do God's will in the smaller things, help those around you, and then God will handle what's out of your control.
Yeah, and the bigger things especially.
And I think that's one of the reasons why, there's so much anxiety in this world now, is because everything is overcomplicated. We overcomplicate everything, every situation. And like you were saying, when you go back to the basics, right? When you go back to simplicity, you will be able to have, that more clarity and, get rid of that anxiety.
You know what I think is another enemy here is perfectionism. How is that? Looks really interesting.
This is
It's a
very
date
good.
with
It's a date.
pistachio in
Yeah,
it?
I've never had it like this.
How is it?
Very good.
So perfectionism is a problem because, okay, you're anxious because things are not as you want them to be, but they're never going to be perfect. And so because they're never going to be perfect, you don't want to try at all.
Yeah, that's good.
And so, okay, so now it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. And I wrote this essay on, I just finished it on Timothy.
Yeah.
Patriarch Timothy of the Church of the East had a debate with Al-Mahdi, the introduction of that debate that he's relating on the Christian faith. And he's writing the kind of a transcript of what happened during this debate or dialogue or whatever. And the very beginning of it, he's addressing to his bishop friend, and he says, "Honestly, I'm really frustrated, and this was even writing it out is just like discouraging, and it's just annoying that I even had to do that and write it out, because I know it's not going to go anywhere. He knows he's not going to convert the caliph. It's not like the Abbasid Empire is going to suddenly become Christian. The caliph, even if he was convinced of what the patriarch was saying, couldn't convert for political reasons. So he's like, it was just like, on the one hand, he didn't say it was a waste of time, he just said it was frustrating. On the other hand, had he not done that and stood up and explained his faith with the clarity that he did in the debate, it would have been way worse. Because the caliph was saying, you guys are polytheists because you believe in the Trinity. And if he wouldn't have answered at all, then the caliph would have been like, okay, you are polytheist, which means it's against the law and you have to be.
Yeah.
So he answered in order to sort of not improve things, but at least prevent them from getting worse. And that's all he could do as a patriarch. That's all he could do socially. And yet he did it. And now we're in situations now where, okay, I can't fix the whole world and I can't fix the situation. I can't fix my family or my church or my country or whatever. But that's not an excuse to do nothing, because the fact that it's gotten this bad is because people have done nothing. And had they done something before, maybe it wouldn't have been as bad.
So how do you battle against perfectionism?
You just accept that that's your situation. Here's the thing, I was thinking about this on the drive over, how dare we be perfectionists? What kind of pride is that, and kind of blindness? The only image I could think of was, it's like we're swimming through an ocean of crap. Where you're swimming in an ocean of crap. That's what this world is sometimes. Yeah. And you're like, oh, everything has to be perfect. I'm not going to do anything unless it's perfect. Dude, look at what you're swimming in. Forget about, seriously. Do what little, smell it. Do what little you can, and you're going to make a big difference.
What do you think? Okay,
is that a good analogy?
Yeah.
What do you think? An ocean, though, not a lake or a sea.
I can smell it right now, actually. Yeah. I'm just joking.
What do you think Jesus means when he says, "Be perfect as your heavenly Father"?
Yeah, in your heart, sure. He means strive for that perfection in your heart.
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not. But you can't even do it in your own heart. You're going to try it in the world.
Yeah, and it's not. And it's not superficial. You know what I mean? It's something very foundational. It's part of your being. You know?
Yeah. It's about the person, not the world.
You know what?
In your heart and in your actions, as much as you can, by the grace of God.
And it's humbling because you can't even do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're saying, I can't
not
fix
without
the country.
him.
Yeah.
You know what I've thought? Okay, so I've never been able to understand it, because I know that perfectionism is, it's at the root of it, it's pride, right? When you want to perfect yourself, which is impossible, you're just gonna perpetuate this cycle of beating yourself up and trying to be perfect and then beating yourself up. So it ends up, it's a spiritual failure, But I've always wrestled, okay, what does this mean in relation to Jesus saying, be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect? It's a command, so it's interesting that Jesus would say that when he knows that it's impossible for us to do it. But when I was reading it in Chaldean one time at Mass, it says, "Hawatun kmile." Kmile is different than
Complete.
complete. Yeah, you must be complete.
Well, that's what the word perfect means too in its root.
That's what exactly, and that's what I thought about, and because it's in the context of Jesus saying, forgive your enemies and do all these things. God loves the good and the evil, and He brings the sun up on the good and the evil.
Yeah.
And so to be, I think, and I could be wrong, but to be perfect in this sense means to be complete, which means to have a complete love for the good and the evil. It's
I
not
don't
so
think
much
that's
about.
wrong. I don't think that's wrong, but I think I would interpret it a little bit different. I would say the thing that's bad about perfectionism is when it makes you give up.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I messed up, I committed this sin, I fell into this or whatever, or I can't do it perfectly, so I'm not going to do anything at all. So I give up. That's the poisonous kind. The good kind of perfectionism that I think would flow from this verse is, okay, I failed, but I'm going to try again until I get it right.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good kind of perfectionism. And it's in the context of forgiveness, including of yourself.
Right.
And I think that's where it makes sense. Forgive yourself because you failed, but try again.
Well,
I think that,
then you have another battle ahead of you, which is the idea of these things still being, relished in your memory, right? These,
sure. But
Right?
that takes even more time. That takes even more patience. And
yeah, exactly.
Sure.
So there's different variables to it, but I think that's the right way
Keep
to
trying.
go about
That's
it.
the idea.
Yeah.
Whereas perfectionism makes you give up. That's the
Yeah.
part that's bad about it. The negative sort of interpretation of it.
Yeah, like the scrupulosity.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do?
We are swimming through crap. Remember that.
Cheer up,
You should
everyone.
write a blog post about that, by the way.
Should I?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, write that
Swimming
down.
through crap. Our world today.
Yeah.
Steve, would you read it?
If you guys read it, you heard it here first. Yeah. So,
What's the subtitle? Swimming through crap :
swimming through crap. Smell it.
Survival.
living in the 20 living in
Yeah,
2020.
yeah.
Living in 2020.
Living in 2020.
Surviving 2020.
Yeah, bro. That's gonna go viral. That's gonna go viral.
I don't want to go viral, man. I saw what happens.
Oh man.
Okay. So,
Okay, you can start recording.
bro, you scared me, man. I really thought it wasn't recording.
What?
So,
Oh.
last episode of this season,
Yeah.
we're gonna keep you guys updated on
When we
the
start
next
again.
season's gonna start.
2025 will be the next season.
There's gonna be
The next step in living.
Yeah. The next time there's a quarantine. No, if you have
Yeah.
topics that you want us to talk
Oh,
about
yeah.
on episodes, write it in the comments.
Write in the comments.
right in the comments.
Also, like and subscribe.
Smash the notification bell.
Are we still doing Amazon? One last hurrah.
Yeah.
Are we done?
Is it?
I have nothing. Was this a short
What's the
episode?
time?
What was it?
Yeah. it's
You want to
okay.
talk more? Is there anything? What else do you want to say?
I think we'll do like one last goodbye message each of us after.
Hell.
Like advice.
Okay, Amazon first.
After Amazon?
Trimindi, huh? That was Zwina?
What did I buy, man?
Oh.
Oh,
The
God
last
have mercy
thing?
on
Or
us.
do we do last thing, or we could choose on what's on its way?
Choose what's on its way. Yeah,
Okay.
let's be clever about it.
Okay.
You start.
Okay, I'll start. I bought my niece who lives in Michigan small luggage because she was crying about not having one because
That's
she's
cute.
coming here for my sister's
Is it
wedding.
like cartoon?
No, it's just a pink one. I have
Come
my
on,
sister.
man, get something.
What do you mean?
I don't know. Kids like.
Like what?
I have no idea. What about you?
I am trying to get logged into my Amazon, and I hope that I didn't
buy
get
something crazy.
logged out or something.
Oh man.
Yeah. Freaking Amazon. Honestly.
Apparently, one of the super boater monks bought a 40-inch wall rosary. Oh my gosh! Who did that?
Really?
Why did they do that?
That's a necessity in every Chaldean house.
No, we're good here, I think.
Okay.
No, you go there.
I know.
I bought a pocket knife.
Oh, okay, we're good, right?
What kind?
I bought 3 of them.
Let me see.
I liked all 3 of them. I'm really bad with this. I did it again.
Let me see what kind.
This is one. As it's loading for an hour.
Is that a
I
samurai?
like the shape of it.
This is samurai style, right?
I mean, it's small,
Oh, cricket.
compact.
Oh, we got these tassel things for El Cajon Valley's Youth for Truth for their seniors.
out.
They were something for something special.
Oh,
for
Oh,
their
that's
thing.
cute.
Yeah, yeah, it was
that's
so
nice,
cute,
man.
Nice.
That's good.
It was cute. We miss Youth for Truth, man.
Yeah.
That's one
Miss
of the
you
tough
all.
things. going to the schools.
I don't miss it.
Yeah, because he
I never
didn't
went.
come.
Father and Keto?
Father and kiddo what?
No.
They got
Last
a
words?
rosary.
No, you're. Oh, Rosary.
Rosary,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
Well, you weren't.
Rosary boy.
Sorry, I wasn't paying it. I'm not perfect, bro. We don't
That was good. Oh.
Okay, we gotta start with you. We've never started with you, by the way.
With me?
No, him.
Oh, him.
I have nothing to say. What closing words? I was just talking for 18 minutes. That's the longest I've ever talked. Closing
We should have
words.
Steve.
I've seen some longer homilies, bro. I gotta be honest.
Yeah. Oh man.
What should we say?
Stay healthy, stay safe, pray.
Stay calm. Calm down. There's
Calm down.
my
Calm
last
down.
words are calm down. That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
the
Calm
summary
down.
of today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pray more.
I said it. I said what I need
What'd
to
you
say.
say?
By the way, the
Be good,
like
stay healthy.
Oh,
when I was in
Say
the
pray
seminary,
less.
when I was in the seminary, my spiritual director was this monk, right, Father Neely Augustinian.
Good guy.
And like the culmination of his advice to me all the time was basically relax.
No, I
Literally,
like that.
if you just summarized it in one word, it was just relax.
Yeah.
Don't
That's
worry
good.
about it. And he's an old guy; he understands, you know.
I like that.
I want to add something that he told me. It's a cool little prayer to pray. It says, "Jesus, help me mind my own business."
Wow.
That's it.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
Jesus,
one
help me
of
mind
them-
my own business.
Okay, a really old priest that I would go to confession to a lot in the seminary, who died like 3 years ago only, but he was really old even at the time. He used to say, because you get discouraged or whatever, and he would say, "Don't let the bastards get you down." That was his advice.
really?
Yeah.
I've never had a one-on-one with an old priest, so I got nothing.
You gotta go meet these old priests, man.
Okay.
Are we gonna end on that?
I've had a lot of one-on-ones. No.
I'm old.
All right.
Yalla
Okay,
bye,
we're
cheers.
done?
Bye.
See you in whenever.
Hags, have a good summer.
See.